it was the Trent article, and obviously on Sunday, all the scenes speaking to John W. Henry and steering in towards this summer. Everyone's looking for something around Trent, aren't they? And reading he's having a chat, Linda putting the eyes on that post and everything like that. Everyone's looking for just give us something that he's staying. But if we're deadly honest, all indications is still to expect to move to Spain this summer, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. All indications that I've got are that nothing's changed, and that Real Madrid are still super confident of getting him. Had a text from someone in Spain this morning, sort of saying they're going to push hard to get him for the Club World Cup, because the fact they've not won the league, they're 4 points behind. They still could win the league, but they're not likely to, and they're out of Europe, and they lost the Copa del Rey final. Someone who lives in Madrid basically said the Club World Cup is like their massive, absolutely massive for them. So they're going to try really hard to get him early. Whether Liverpool sanction that, I don't know. That's a completely different conversation. But I think the piece that I wrote there was basically, how could anyone want to leave by looking at that on Sunday? Trent, loved it. It was maybe a bit awkward at first when he was being pushed over to the cop, but surely that planted a seed of doubt in his head, just the love that he got. But not even that. I think, obviously there's fan favourites in the fan base, and Curtis Jones also a Scouser, and obviously he's loved by the fans. But I think Trent is just a different level to that, because he is the Scouse heartbeat of the team. And he could go on, he could be here for another close to a decade if he stayed, maybe a bit less, but he could go on to be one of the great legends of Liverpool. He's the captain, or the next captain when Virgil leaves. He could be the one that lifts multiple Premier League, multiple Champions League. So he could go on to be a legend. And I think even if you take away the emotion of it, of being a Scouser and going on to be a legend, I still think I'd rather play for Liverpool than Real Madrid right now, because you look at I think Madrid are a horrible club. Really.
Yeah, they are.
They're a horrible club. I do understand the allure of going there and living in Spain and whatever, and playing for the most successful team in Europe's history. But I think Liverpool is the place to be right now, and I think Sunday highlighted that. I think Liverpool will go into next season as the favourites for the title. Whether they can do that or not is a different question, because the other two will get better. And I think they'll go in as one of the favourites for the Champions League too. So I don't think moving to Real necessarily guarantees him instant success. I think obviously he will win trophies there because they're Real Madrid, but I don't think it's quite as clear cut as maybe he thinks. So maybe, just maybe, Sunday planted a seed of doubt in his mind, but all the noise is that nothing's changed. He's still heading for Real, but nothing is signed yet. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, the chat panel shares that expectation. We'll see what happens or when it happens there. And from this article, I almost feel like it's a Perry Mason style here, and I'm reading a charge sheet. But I just want to read you a line, and I know you'll have had this line obviously quoted to you or put back. But Sport understands that with a big transfer budget this summer, the club is expected to spend big to capitalise on the success. Those are big words, Mr. Lewis Steele, and they'll cause a fanfare in this fan base as well, won't they?
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, but I could have worded that a bit stronger if I wanted to. I nearly wrote the word transfer war chest, but I thought that's just going to get absolutely torn apart on the aggregators. But yeah, it's not necessarily saying Liverpool are going to spend 300, 400 million. It's saying that there is money to spend and they will spend it. They will make signings this summer. And FSG are happy to back Slot. Michael Edwards is going to give him the funds he deserves, but they will still. It does have to be caveated with the fact they will still follow their business model. They're not suddenly going to be going 150 million there, 150 million there.
Yeah.
They will still be doing this in a clever measured approach. And so, yeah, they won't be signing players for the sake of it, but I think the recruitment team has identified 2 or 3 areas that need to be addressed this summer. I think they did that. Last summer they spent 10 million quid, so the money's there. That's no problem. I think that, as I said last time I was on this show, I do think it'll be a busy summer. I think outgoings will happen, though. They will need to balance the books, but I do think you can expect a big transfer spend this summer, just not maybe, one like, it's not going to be like a Chelsea under Abramovich or a City in the early eras of Sheikh Mansour. It's going to be measured, but there is money there and they will spend it.
Yeah, which will be music to everyone's ears, especially in the chat panel by the looks of it as well. And I mean, you mentioned it, and it's well worth a read the article, folks, the specific positions that you talked about. Things like left back, centre back, and a forward seem to be which I think fans expect, don't they, really, from what they've seen this year?
Say that again, sorry, you just cut out a second there.
Sorry, the positions-wise, sort of left back, centre back, centre forward, those are the positions everyone expects, and you mentioned as well.
Yeah, I do think so. I think, I think a striker is definitely top of the priority list. And you can sort of see that from reading between the lines of what Slot said in the last few weeks, because he said a few times, listen, yes, we are winning games, but we're not absolutely hammering teams 3 or 4-0. He often quotes Pep and City in that. He says, in years gone by, City were winning 5-0 every week or whatever, and we're not doing that. And I think that basically signals Slot wants to improve his forward line, and I think we can all see that maybe Jota is not, well, he's not been fully fit, but he's not putting away the goals at the level that we would have wanted him to.
True.
Núñez, obviously, well documented how poor Núñez has been this season. I think that's fair to say. Diaz has done his bit as a number 9, but I don't think that's his best position. So, yeah, I do think Liverpool target a striker. That's 100% going to happen. And I think they will get one. And then left back, I think that'll happen definitely as well. Centre half, maybe, if Huijsen comes off. And then, obviously, we know from their pursuit of Zubamendi that they want to bolster the midfield department. And, maybe a wide forward as well, depending on who leaves. But they will have to sell players, as I say. But I think striker and left back are the definites. And then the others are, let's see what we can do. That old word that us journalists like to say about opportunistic. So yeah, let's see what happens in that.
Look at that. We're hitting all the buzzword bingo today, aren't we? War chest, opportunistic that way as well. And to be fair, you did mention it the last time we talked. The names still seem the same in terms of Huijsen, Kerkez, Ekitike. Those are all the names you almost mentioned that seem to be prominent as well, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Them ones are the names that do keep coming up, but we're not. But we are still early days in the transfer window, so more will become, what's the word, public knowledge in a few weeks. Because I think one of the things that Richard Hughes is keen to do is respect other clubs. He doesn't want to be seen to be tapping up clients when they've still, maybe fighting for a league or a European spot or whatever they're fighting for at their current club. So I think that's why it's been a bit quieter in terms of those sort of targets. But as we know with Huijsen, he's definitely on the list. They like him. But as I've written a couple of times, Chelsea also like him, so do a couple of other teams. So, but as I'll go back to what I said 5 or 10 minutes ago, if he was watching that on Sunday, he's surely thinking, I want a bit of that. And the same will go for a number of players this season who have a number of clubs after them. I think they'll look at Liverpool and say, that's the place to be. So I think more names will be coming out in the next few weeks when the seasons have finished.
Yeah, and we look forward to it all because it will fill column inches for you galore, won't it, over the summer coming up? And one final question then, and I suppose as much as we're talking about incomings and the names, probably the biggest concern a lot of people have got right now, and it's linked to Huijsen. You mentioned him, he was in the main stand and we all saw the videos. I mean, I even hoped it was some sort of contract announcement from Ibu Konate at one point, but it was just him, from that perspective. Liverpool are trying to get this done. It feels quite big that they get Konate tied down, doesn't it? As much as you can celebrate Huijsen coming in, if that happens, you don't want it to be Huijsen in, Konate out, do you? We've got to get this one done.
Yeah, I do think so. I think Liverpool are trying. Konate was asked about his contract on Sunday, but he sort of shot it down, sort of said, this is a conversation for me and the club to have privately. So as we know, the conversations have started, but they're not reached any advanced stage yet. I don't think there's been much movement in the Konate contract for the last few months, really. So Liverpool clearly want him to stay. So and it's up to Konate really. But again, to keep looping back round to that, he will have loved what he saw on Sunday, and maybe surely he thinks, yeah, I want to stay here and be here for the rest of my career. But yeah, it is early days on Konate, and I think, we've got over a year yet before his contract's expires. So,
Yeah.
but I do think they will want to try and get that one done early, because they don't want a repeat of this season where everything is dominated by contract talks. I know it's not quite the same with respect to Konate. He's not the same level as a Salah and a Van Dijk extension, but I think it is still important, especially given how good he's been this season, that Liverpool get that done. But yeah, no massive movement yet, but let's see what happens in the next month or two.
Yeah, fingers crossed with that one. And there we go, ladies and gents. Plenty to talk about there. So Arne Slot and his meticulous nature, well worth a read, that one. Player ratings for the season. If you disagree on that, send all your complaints courtesy to Mr. Lewis Steele. And the summer, we will see what that brings. Players in, hopefully not so many players out for the ones we want to keep, but we will see. It is only April. All it needs me to say, though, as ever, is for the time, the insight, for giving up some time on a Tuesday afternoon. It is much appreciated, Lewis.
Thank you, sir. Enjoyed it.
And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters for Anfield Index.